Ooh, what a great view. Here we have standard. Really nice solid dog walk. I know that I probably can't hear, but I want to make sure that you are releasing your dog and your dog isn't releasing themselves. It's a nice solid hit, but I never see your dog settle into a 2-on-2 off. This is the kind of quick release or early release where if you did not give the release, your dog was coming off anyway. You can just tell from how they're using their body. They aren't preparing to stop. So you need to be careful about that, especially if your dog is pushing you on starts. They're going to start pushing you on contacts. And I'd be careful about the use of the opposite arm. I know it's a habit a lot of times as you fall behind. It helps turn your shoulders, which is good, but you need to be careful because this opposite arm also is the beginning of a front cross, the beginning of a threadle. And so I think that if you just really drive towards that tunnel, that's the bulk of the cue that your dog needs. Okay. So I think that this is somewhat understandable. In fact, even having read your comments, I kind of thought that maybe that's where you're going next. I don't think it's bad handling on your part. I think it would surprise me as well. But now that I see it, I can understand it because in both cases, if you wanted to rear the weaves, you would also look very, very similar. You would slow down. You would allow your dog to get ahead of you. And then you would cut behind. And so I think that this is just a subtlety of the course design. Yeah, I think that perhaps, I think it's just almost a perfect storm. Your position of where you are. You do want to give your dog a chance to catch up, but I think that if you were beyond the plane of the weaves here, if you were to this side, so even if you were just a couple of feet further like this, I think your dog wouldn't do that. They'd come to your side, and now they're past the point where it makes sense to do the weaves, and they'd be looking at this teeter a little bit better. I think a blind cross in between there might have been a possibility to blind between the tunnel and the teeter. But I think that you probably were just caught by a very, very subtle trap here. Everything that I would tell you to do is all in hindsight. I'm not sure that I would have recognized that. I think that you're in the absence of those weaves. I think your dog absolutely takes this line from the tunnel to the teeter. Again, make sure you're the one releasing your dog. I don't see your dog looking like they're going to stay on that board at all. Here, I think for your rear crosses, you need to maybe put in a little bit more of weighting for your dog. They're very smooth, and in this case, I think smooth is bad. You kind of gently run like this and then like this. Especially when there's not very much space between these two. You want to give your dog a chance to get ahead, and you want to be putting heavy pressure on the line almost immediately. But here, you can't really put pressure on the line until here. And the less space you have, the more important it is to put that earlier pressure. You can see that even though it looks like you put early pressure on, your dog is launching. So your dog can't change how they approach the jump at this point. But I think that if you didn't have so much motion in this direction, then maybe your dog puts in one more stride, and then the same amount of pressure is good. But the problem was that your dog launched so early that all of the pressure came when the dog was in the air. So again, here, this dog is not stopping in 2-on, 2-off. So I'm not sure if it's supposed to, or if it's a running A-frame, or if you released. And if you can release occasionally, but if you are always releasing like this, you're going to lose your stop because this dog was never preparing to stop. Nice turn, and I think the blind is great here in terms of pulling your dog through the gap and taking away this off-course jump. That's a nice, gentle rear cross here. Great job. Very nice rear cross here. Dog gets ahead, put that pressure on, and now you can see your dog adjusting how he takes off. This is beautiful. Get that tunnel, give yourself, create this distance, and then maintain it. Beautiful job there. Nice job there. Very nice deceleration. Oh, but your dog doesn't read the rear cross. So I think this is, this is hard because it's actually hard to get this wrap in this case. And your dog does slice, but continues on this curve. On these slice rears, you've got to put strong pressure. You're holding your position, you're leaning forward, but you're not adding additional pressure in this direction. So it comes, but you can see it just comes too late. I think at this point here, I'd really start moving in this direction, because your dog is using their peripheral vision. And again, if we draw a line out from your dog's body, you are on this side of that line. You never actually crossed behind your dog. If you look, you never crossed before. Okay, so if we think about the point at which the dog starts to turn in this direction, at no point before then, if we draw your dog's path like this, you never crossed the path. There was no cross. There was some pressure, but there was no cross. You've got to get to the other side of your dog's path, and you need to do it before they start turning back. So you need to do it somewhere in here. But if we look at your dog's path, you never cross that path. So you've got to put that pressure harder and earlier to get that turn. All right.